What if the next computing breakthrough didn't come from Silicon Valley, didn't come from a trillion-dollar AI lab, and didn't require a warehouse full of screaming, power-hungry GPUs? What if it came from a quiet research lab in Canada, and instead of using electricity, it used light? A tabletop machine, room temperature, over 200 billion operations per second, no cryogenic cooling, no dilution refrigerators, no billion-dollar semiconductor fabrication plant, just lasers, fiber optics, and physics doing the heavy lifting. And on a specific class of problems, the kind that overwhelm even modern supercomputers, it doesn't just compete, it changes the rules. In early 2026, researchers from Queen's University and McGill University published a paper in Nature describing something that sounds almost unreal. A programmable photonic Ising machine built largely from off-the-shelf telecommunications components. Not a GPU, not a quantum computer, not a smaller nanometer silicon breakthrough. A fundamentally different computing architecture designed from the ground up to tackle some of the hardest optimization problems known to mathematics. This system runs at room temperature. It operates stably for hours. And in its optical core, it performs over 200 giga-operations per second in spin coupling calculations. But the real breakthrough isn't just the number, it's the idea. Because this machine doesn't try to overpower complexity with brute force digital logic. It doesn't rely on fragile quantum states that collapse at the slightest disturbance. Instead, it maps mathematical problems directly onto the physical behavior of light, letting the system naturally evolve toward optimal solutions. To understand why that matters, you have to understand the wall modern computing is running into. For more than 50 years, progress followed a simple rhythm. Transistors shrank, chips became faster, costs dropped. Moore's law powered the digital revolution, but that rhythm is slowing. Transistors today are just a few nanometers across. At that scale, electrons leak. They generate heat. They interfere with each other. The laws of physics that once enabled exponential progress are now pushing back. So instead of relying purely on smaller transistors, we built scale. Massive AI clusters, data centers consuming megawatts, supercomputers with hundreds of thousands of processing cores working in parallel. These systems are engineering marvels, but they solve problems the same way brute force always has, by throwing more hardware at them. And that strategy works until it doesn't. There exists a class of problems that exposes the limits of brute force computing. They're called NP-hard combinatorial optimization problems. The name sounds abstract, but their impact is everywhere. Routing global shipping networks, designing telecommunications infrastructure, allocating resources across distributed factories, balancing financial portfolios, modeling simplified protein folding for drug discovery. The difficulty comes from exponential growth. If you have 100 binary decisions, yes or no variables, the number of possible combinations isn't 100. It's 2 to the power of 100, roughly 1.2 nonillion possible configurations. A number so large it stretches intuition. No supercomputer checks all of them. It can't. Instead, modern systems rely on heuristics and approximations. They explore promising regions of the solution space and hope to converge on something close to optimal. And often, they do. But as the system grows, the search space explodes. Even with the smartest algorithms, performance scales poorly. Power consumption rises. Hardware demands escalate. Eventually, adding more processors yields diminishing returns. This is the scaling wall. And this is where the photonic Ising machine becomes interesting. Instead of searching possibilities sequentially through logic gates, it transforms the optimization problem into a physical energy landscape. Imagine every possible solution as a point on a landscape. The height of each point represents how good or bad that solution is. Poor solutions sit on peaks. Better ones lie in valleys. The optimal solution rests at the deepest valley, the system's lowest energy state. Traditional computers simulate that landscape digitally. The photonic Ising machine builds it physically. At its core, is a loop of optical fiber. Ultra-fast pulses of laser light circulate through this loop. Each pulse represents a variable, what physicists call a spin. These pulses interact with one another through cascaded thin-film lithium niobate modulators and semiconductor optical amplifiers. A high-speed digital signal processor provides programmable feedback, encoding the specific optimization problem into the system's interaction rules. Each trip around the loop takes approximately 4.1 microseconds in the largest tested configurations. With every cycle, the network of light pulses evolves, energy redistributes, interactions push and pull. The system naturally drifts toward a stable configuration, corresponding to a high-quality solution. This is parallelism through physics. Instead of simulating interactions one by one, billions of coupling updates occur in the optical domain as light propagates. The reported 200 giga-operations per second refer to the throughput of spin coupling calculations in this optical core. It's not directly comparable to GPU floating point operations, but it reflects the rate at which the system processes optimization interactions. In fully connected mode, where every variable interacts with every other variable, the machine handles up to 256 spins, representing over 65,000 simultaneous coupling interactions. For sparse problems, where connectivity is limited, as is common in real-world networks, the system scales dramatically using time multiplexing. Instead of requiring one optical path per variable, different variables are encoded into different time slots within the same loop. This allows the tabletop setup to handle more than 41,000 spins and over 200,000 couplings without becoming physically massive. And it does all of this at room temperature. No cryogenic cooling, no quantum coherence management, no vibration isolation systems. The machine runs for hours under ambient conditions. But architecture alone isn't enough. Benchmarks matter. The research team tested 3 established NP-hard problems: max cut, number partitioning, and lattice protein folding. Max cut involves dividing a network into 2 groups such that the number of connections between groups is maximized. It appears in circuit design, network routing, and clustering analysis. The system demonstrated performance across graphs, scaling from thousands to tens of thousands of spins in sparse configurations, converging reliably to high-quality solutions. Number partitioning, dividing numbers into subsets with nearly equal sums, appears in scheduling, resource allocation, and cryptography research. Again, the system showed consistent convergence performance. The most notable demonstration was lattice protein folding. While simplified compared to full biological simulations, lattice folding remains NP-hard in general form. Previous photonic Ising machines had not demonstrated this capability at comparable scale. This system successfully mapped and solved these instances, expanding the range of applicable optimization problems. Does this mean it replaces supercomputers? No. Supercomputers remain unmatched for general-purpose computation, simulation, and AI training. But what this research shows is that for certain combinatorial optimization tasks, a specialized photonic system can compete using simpler infrastructure and potentially far lower energy overhead. Computing history shows a pattern. CPUs didn't disappear when GPUs arrived. GPUs didn't disappear when TPUs were introduced. Each new architecture carved out territory by specializing. The photonic Ising machine follows that pattern. It doesn't overthrow silicon, it complements it, and that's where the broader implication emerges. For decades, advanced computation was tightly linked to advanced semiconductor fabrication. Whoever controlled the smallest nodes controlled the frontier of computing performance. But if meaningful gains can come from alternative architectures, photonics, analog physics, hybrid optical electronic systems, then computing progress becomes more diversified. The future may not belong solely to smaller transistors, it may belong to smarter architectures. The work from Queens and McGill doesn't signal the end of supercomputers. It signals something more subtle, a widening of the design space for computation itself. Instead of forcing solutions through billions of switching transistors, this machine allows light to evolve naturally toward stability. It doesn't brute force answers, it settles into them. And if that approach scales, if photonic optimization hardware becomes commercial and deployable, we may look back at this moment as one of the first signs that the post-silicon era quietly began. Not with a louder supercomputer, but with a loop of light. If this kind of breakthrough excites you, not hype, not headlines, but real shifts in how computing itself works, then you're in the right place. Because the next decade won't just be about faster chips. It'll be about new architectures, new physics, and new power dynamics shaping the future of technology. So here's what I want to know. Do you think specialized photonic machines like this will become mainstream accelerators inside data centers? Or will silicon and GPUs remain untouchable for decades? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them, and the best debates usually start there. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more breakdowns on breakthrough technologies that actually matter, not just trending buzzwords, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. The computing race is changing, and we're watching it unfold in real time. I'll see you in the next one.